Hello and welcome back to the show. Now, this wasn't a planned video at all. I mean, I have one in the making, but it's gonna take a time until I can actually publish it. But we're back with the crawler T-74, and like I mentioned in one of the previous videos, we have an issue where the hydraulic pump just keeps flicking off and on. Like yesterday, I wanted to hook on a four-bottom plow so I can move it out of the way, but guess what? The hydraulics don't work, and guess what the culprit is? I'm more than positive the culprit is just not this pump, and even not this part, where the housing for the couplers. There's a coupler inside, and well, my theory right now is the coupler is either bad or it's completely wiped out. So, I guess I'll just get my 46mm wrench here and open these hydraulic lines. Of course, before that, I need to clean up the catch pan, which is full of dirt. So I'll open this up and let's see what we'll find. So we have now dismantled the pump gear drive and the pump. Now, wasn't really hard, but the main reason why this is the old one we took off the engine, this is a spare one. Now, the problem why the pump keeps shutting out was there's these dogs or fingers, which are called. These just completely, one fell out during the disassembly and the other one just came out while I was just poking around. So yay. And also this extensive wear on the shaft as well. So also I determined there's, you can hear bad bearings. And if you look at this gear here, and this one is almost brand new bearings. If you look at these two gears, you can see that this one's completely worn out. It's almost gone. And this one has still a lot of meat left in it. So, of course, we're going to use these, but we have to dismantle it because there's actually this coupler here, which engages with the other coupler inside there. So we need to actually take this out and grind these teeth a little so that it will stay engaged. And look at the other components as well. The pump itself, well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I would just rather put a new pump in, but the problem is this pump's really expensive right now and I can't just afford it. $156 is this pump, and it's a left-hand pump, so it's a bit cheaper. The right-hand pump was, I think it was $162. So yeah, well, I mean, we can always change the pump out and maybe I'll find a spare part, but who knows. We have to take these flanges off because there's actually some O-rings here that needs to be replaced anyway. So I guess first job is just to clean them up, both of these units, and then we'll go from there. And I also noticed this coupler is also a bit worn on the shaft, so yeah, I don't know where we can find this coupler. I mean, this is a little bit of a problem part because they're not expensive, but they're really hard to find. So I'll see what I can do and start cleaning the parts now. So, update on the pump situation now. If you remember, I had this spare coupler and the spare basically the gear to drive the hydraulic pump. Now I scavenged from that one we took off and this one that I got from a friend, a workable unit. Now mine didn't have it. It's actually teeth and spring here with a check ball. These were all missing. There's no ring here that was missing on mine. Mine, these fingers here, or these dogs they call, these were completely loose. These are, well, they're better, but the only thing I took from my own coupler was this shaft. Mine's, well, the one on this one originally had been torn apart. So you actually want to have, this the coupler, you want to have like a exact mesh here. If it's wobbling, it's gonna, throw out the pump. So, well, guess what? We have a one workable unit, and also pay attention to the orientation of this drive gear for the pump, and if you're putting the bearings on, make sure they don't bind, because if they bind, you get something is very messed up. Let me say this. So what I'm going to do about it, well, here's the thing I figured out. First of all, because this part was so worn, and these actually have two bearings in them. One is a 204 and the other one's a 207 bearing. So these are like inexpensive parts. Replace them. Don't cheapskate them. They're like few dollars a piece. Nothing really that expensive. But here's the thing where I think the pump keeps flicking on and off. First of all, we had a bad coupler inside here, and the teeth and spring was missing, so this would just behold here on all hopes and dreams. There's actually a locking pin for the pivot, but it doesn't hold you back when there's like no teeth and spring and check ball here. So yeah, good call on fixing that. Also, the fork on these sometimes, you know, it shifts out and it keeps wobbling. So pretty much that's it. I mean, the fork's good, but here's another thing I discovered. Well, this is the pump it came out from. Now, there's a slack in the coupler. Now, I thought this coupler is bad. Well, it turns out we need a different pump. Now, this pump shaft is a bit thinner than this coupler, but if I put this coupler on a flat pump instead of this round pump, there's no slack. So, we do need a round pump, but let me show you what I think the problem with this here is. So here's the thing. My solution is I'm going to put the new coupler in and the new drive unit and the old pump back. Well, the better part of me would replace the pump, but here's the thing. I don't have the correct flat pump for this machine. The correct flat pump for this machine is actually a NJ46, but these haven't been in production since the early 90s, and the last ones probably were made before the Soviet Union collapsed. So the other problem is I do have flat pumps, but the problem with these, they have a different mounting unit. So let me show you what I mean by that. So this here is the so-called mounting unit, or pretty much the bracket where you hook your hydraulic lines in. The problem is these are designed for that round pump NJ50. Now, I could go and buy a new pump, but the pump's really expensive. Could get good used ones, but still we would need a custom coupler for that. But that coupler doesn't exist. So pretty much we could just use a flat pump, but then we need these things, which have to be smaller. And then we need to figure out what to do with the hydraulic couplers. We have to figure out, you know, we could go to a metric coupler and we could just bypass all these Soviet weird, I don't know in what thread this is, but you know, these are like these odd thread couplers, and the problem is I would need to redo all the new lines, and also, you know, I would have to sacrifice some, you know, instead of the steel lines, use the soft lines or just flexible lines. So my theory right now is we're going to throw this back together, and if I find a better solution, or you know, the right couplers, maybe we'll just wing it in a different flat pump that will work. This pump, however, well, it's worn. I would like to put another one, but right now we're just gonna go with it because, well, I just want to move the thing somewhere else. And if you think this is only going to be a repair video, oh hell no, there's a lot more to come if you stay to the end of the video. So I'm going to clean up a bit the block, and well, guess what else I found? Let me show you if I can find that thing. Yeah, look at this. There's the rebuild tag. So we have a rebuild engine from what is it, 19 yeah, this has been rebuilt somewhere in the 80s, so it's a good thing this is a rebuilt engine. So it only has like 300 work hours, so it's gonna last a long time. But you know, this made me think that, you know, we have to do another thing in this machine before we can really head out on the road. And I think this thing needs oil change really bad. So yeah, I'm gonna go and buy some oil, and we're gonna see if we can move this thing off, you know, where it stranded. So stay tuned for more. Okay, here's the thing. We actually assembled the pump, and if you're putting this together, don't make sure that this is your inlet. Hot means actually in Russian inlet. So this is your suction side. You can't put the pump in the other way. So since this is a left-hand pump, you can imagine that if you have, you know, the suction and outlet sides mixed up, it ain't lift, and it didn't lift. And the reason why it didn't lift was we were low on hydraulic fluid. So let's do another attempt and see why will this thing actually lift. Hey. As you saw from the clips, well, the first time it didn't do anything. Really, the problem was we had low hydraulic fuel, and basically the problem with the low hydraulic fluid is that the hydraulic tank on this tractor sits down below versus the TT-75, which has a upper hydraulic tank, and well, it just flows on top of the suction side itself. This one, you have to top off the hydraulic tank in order to start sucking the fluid anyway. So yeah, first try wasn't successful, and I added about 20 liters of hydraulic fluid, and now I'm out of fluids. I don't know. We might be having to look for a fluid sponsor, because yeah, that was the last stock I had. So I have to wrap this video up here. I was going to do something else, but since the memory card is full, yeah, we have to kind of cut this video here, and in the next video we're going to do some serious work with this one. I mean, we have a ton of things we need to move. So stay tuned for the next episode.